Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing and talked about coins in American numismatics, the Washington quarter from 1965. This isn't just a quarter that you flip into a vending machine or drop in a change jar. No, this coin carries a twist that has left collectors stunned and hunters searching through their change in hopes of striking it rich. Stay with me, because the story behind this simple quarter might just surprise you, and the ending will absolutely blow your mind. Let's start with the background. In 1965, the United States was going through some major economic changes. Silver prices had skyrocketed. The government made a bold decision to stop using 90% silver in circulating coins. That meant starting in 1965, dimes and quarters were no longer minted with silver. Instead, they began using a clad composition, that's copper sandwiched between layers of nickel. It was a necessary shift, but it also opened the door for something incredible. Because in the middle of this transition, something unexpected happened. During the changeover, the US Mint was in overdrive, trying to meet public demand for coins. The presses were running non-stop. And somewhere in that chaos, a mistake slipped through, a very rare and accidental creation. A few quarters were struck using leftover silver planchets, the blank metal discs that coins are stamped onto. That's right, even though 1965 quarters were supposed to be clad, a tiny number were accidentally minted on the old 90% silver blanks from 1964. These are not your everyday quarters. They're what collectors dream of finding. Now, before you start checking your piggy bank or that pile of quarters in your car, there's something you need to know. At first glance, a 1965 silver quarter looks almost identical to a regular one. The design is the same, George Washington on the front, the majestic eagle on the back. But the devil, as they say, is in the details. And in this case, the details are everything. So how can you tell if you've got the real deal? The first and most obvious way is the edge of the coin. Normal 1965 quarters have a distinct copper-colored stripe along the edge because of their copper core. But a silver planchet quarter doesn't have that. The edge is completely silver all the way around. It also has a noticeably different sound when dropped on a hard surface, a higher-pitched ring that collectors can recognize immediately. And then, of course, there's the weight. A silver quarter weighs slightly more than its clad cousin, 6.25 grams instead of 5.67. If you've got a precision scale at home, it could help you make a life-changing discovery, but here's where it gets even more exciting. Because people have found these rare silver 1965 quarters. And they've sold for astonishing prices at auctions and in private sales. These coins are extremely rare, only a handful are known to exist, but when one shows up, the bidding war begins. They're more than just coins. They're treasures. And they're worth far more than face value. Now think about this. The next time you're handed change at the store, or you dig through that old jar in your closet, there's a chance, however slim, that you could be holding something extraordinary. That plain-looking quarter might actually be one of the rare silver-struck 1965s. And if it is, you're not just looking at a piece of history, you're looking at a serious payday. Collectors and experts have been searching for these coins for decades. They use magnifying glasses, precise scales, and years of experience to hunt them down. But sometimes, the most valuable discoveries are made by accident, by regular people who happen to spot something unusual. It's like a modern treasure hunt, and the prize isn't buried under the sand, it's sitting in your pocket. So let's come to the big question: how much is one of these coins actually worth today? If you were lucky enough to find one, what could you expect to get for it? Well, in one particularly jaw-dropping auction, a genuine 1965 silver Washington quarter, authenticated and verified, was sold to a passionate collector for an unbelievable amount. Not hundreds. Not thousands. But $145,000, yes, you heard that right, $145,000 for a single quarter. So the next time you think a coin is just 25 cents, remember this story. Because some quarters are more than just change, they're rare pieces of American history that could change your life. Keep your eyes open, your change jar close, and who knows? You might be the next person to uncover one of the greatest hidden treasures in the world of coins. If you enjoyed this video and want more amazing stories from the world of rare coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a discovery. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your next quarter be worth $145,000. Top 2. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where the change in your pocket could be more valuable than you ever imagined. Today's story is about a coin that most people overlook. It's small, it's common, or at least, it seems that way. But in the right condition and with the right features, it could be the key to unlocking a fortune. We're talking about the 1971 Washington quarter. It may look ordinary, but what lies beneath the surface is a fascinating mix of history, error, and extreme value. So if you've ever glanced at a quarter and wondered if it was special, this video might just change the way you see your spare change forever. Let's take a step back for a moment and talk about why the Washington quarter became such an iconic piece of American currency. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, this coin quickly became a staple in the pockets and cash registers of the nation. But by the time we reached 1971, the quarter had already gone through several changes, especially in terms of its metal content. The most dramatic shift happened in 1965, when silver was removed from circulating quarters due to the rising price of precious metals. From that year onward, quarters were no longer made with 90% silver. Instead, the U.S. Mint began producing them with a copper-nickel-clad composition. That's 2 layers of nickel around a solid copper core. And by 1971, the Mint had fully transitioned to this new material. But even in a time of uniformity, mistakes can happen. And in the world of coin collecting, a mistake is often the golden ticket. Now, here's where things get interesting. In 1971, during high-speed production, a handful of errors and anomalies found their way out of the Mint. Some quarters were struck on the wrong planchets that weren't intended for quarters at all. Some coins had doubled dies, missing mint marks, or off-center strikes. These kinds of minting errors are rare, but they're what collectors chase after with relentless passion. And if you've got one, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a potential jackpot. Imagine this, a standard 1971 quarter is worth just 25 cents in everyday circulation. It might even be worth a few dollars if it's in mint condition. But a quarter with a rare error, especially one that's been preserved in pristine shape, could be worth thousands, maybe even more. But we're not talking about just any quarter. We're talking about that one specific coin, that rare anomaly that defies the odds. So what kinds of errors should you be looking for in a 1971 quarter? One of the most sought-after types is the off-metal strike. This happens when a quarter is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, like a dime or even a foreign coin. These errors are incredibly scarce. Then there are double die errors, where part of the design is stamped twice, causing visible doubling in the letters or numbers. And let's not forget the holy grail, proof errors that somehow escaped the Mint and ended up in circulation. When any of these errors appear on a 1971 quarter, their value skyrockets. The key to unlocking the value lies in details most people miss. The weight, for instance, is crucial. A normal 1971 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it weighs significantly less or more, it could mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. Look at the edge. If the copper core isn't visible, that's another clue that something's off. Use a magnifying glass to examine the date, the letters, the mint mark. Even a tiny irregularity could signal a rare variety. Stories have surfaced over the years of lucky individuals stumbling across these valuable coins completely by accident. A collector finds one tucked away in an old collection. Someone sorting through inherited change discovers a strange coin that turns out to be a rare error. And just like that, what was once pocket change turns into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's not a fantasy, it's happened before, and it can happen again. So before you dismiss that old quarter, take a moment to really look at it. Especially if it's a 1971. You never know what secrets it might be hiding. Because in the vast world of coins, rarity meets value, and error equals opportunity. And if the coin happens to be in mint condition, or one of those incredibly rare error specimens, then you're not just looking at a collector's item, you're staring at something truly remarkable. Now, you've been patient. You've heard the history, the possibilities, the hidden stories behind the 1971 Washington quarter. But what's it all leading up to? What is the highest known value one of these rare coins has reached? Let's put the numbers into words so the full weight of it sinks in. One of these rare 1971 quarters, with the right error, pristine preservation, and verified authenticity, was sold for a jaw-dropping $125,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $125,000 for a coin most people wouldn't look at twice. So the next time you get change from the store, take a second look at that quarter. It might just be a modern treasure hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the story of the 1971 Washington quarter, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and share this video with anyone who might have a coin jar full of forgotten gold. Thanks for watching, and keep hunting, your fortune could be just one quarter away. Top 3. There's something incredible about the coins we carry every day. They slip into our wallets, jingle in our pockets, and get tossed into jars and glove compartments without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of those coins, a simple, unassuming quarter from 1974, could actually be worth a small fortune? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1974 Washington quarter, a coin that might seem common at first glance, but in certain rare forms, it's anything but ordinary. Let's start by painting a picture of the era. The year is 1974. America is navigating a post-Vietnam landscape, the Watergate scandal is making headlines, and inflation is starting to take its toll. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint is quietly producing millions of coins to keep the economy flowing. Among those coins is the Washington quarter, a familiar sight in cash registers and piggy banks across the country. To most people, it's just 25 cents, simple, utilitarian, and taken for granted. But deep within that year's production, something unusual began to happen. The 1974 Washington quarter was supposed to follow the same copper-nickel-clad formula as the years before it. Gone were the days of silver coins, those had ended back in 1965. The quarter now had a copper core, sandwiched between outer layers of nickel, a cost-saving move by the government. But as with any large-scale production, errors can occur. And when they do, especially in the coin world, they can turn the ordinary into something rare, collectible, and extremely valuable. What makes certain 1974 quarters stand out isn't just their age or condition. It's the errors, the beautiful, accidental flaws created during the minting process. These mistakes, rare as they are, often escape unnoticed and end up in circulation. Some of these error coins are struck on the wrong metal planchets. Others show doubling in the letters and numbers, known as double die errors, where the design appears to have a shadow, almost like a ghost image, due to a misalignment during stamping. There are also coins with off-center strikes, partial collars, and even coins missing vital details like mint marks. Each of these errors has its own story. They're tiny, technical mishaps created in the blink of an eye, yet they transform a regular coin into a numismatic legend. And among all the coins produced in 1974, a select few quarters with these rare errors have stunned collectors with their uniqueness. When these coins surface, collectors and investors alike take notice, because owning one means holding a piece of American minting history that wasn't supposed to exist, but rarity alone isn't enough to create high value. Condition plays a huge role. Coins graded by professionals, especially those that receive high grades like MS 67 or higher, fetch the most impressive prices. A 1974 quarter with a rare error and perfect or near-perfect surfaces becomes not just a collector's dream, but a once-in-a-lifetime find. These coins don't just sit in dusty albums, they headline auctions, draw attention from around the world, and get locked away in prized collections. Imagine stumbling across one of these in an old drawer, or while sorting through a coin jar passed down from a relative. You wouldn't think twice about it at first, it's just a quarter, right? But then you notice something different. Maybe the color isn't quite right. Maybe the date looks slightly doubled. Or the edge lacks that familiar copper strip. So you dig a little deeper, weigh the coin, inspect the details under a magnifying glass. And then it hits you, this isn't just pocket change. This is a hidden treasure. Collectors spend years hunting for these coins, attending conventions, browsing auctions, and studying mint reports. But some of the most amazing discoveries are made by complete beginners, people with a curious eye and a little bit of luck. That's the magic of coin collecting. You never know when or where the next big find will appear. And the 1974 Washington quarter continues to be a prime target for those looking to make a surprising discovery. So what kind of money are we talking about? How much can one of these rare 1974 quarters really be worth? Keep in mind, most 1974 quarters are still worth their face value, 25 cents. Even those in decent condition might be worth a couple of dollars to the right buyer. But the ones with verified mint errors, those preserved in top-notch condition, are a different story altogether, because one of these rare error 1974 Washington quarters, the kind that turns heads at auctions, authenticated, preserved, and fought over by collectors, didn't just fetch a few hundred or even a few thousand. No, it commanded a stunning price, one that most people wouldn't believe unless they saw it written down. $115,000. That's right, $115,000 for a single 1974 quarter. A coin that might have once bought a gumball or a cup of coffee is now worth more than a brand new luxury car. That's the kind of twist that makes the world of coins so endlessly fascinating. So the next time you get change back at the store, or you're going through an old coin collection, don't overlook the quarters. Especially not the ones from 1974. Take a closer look. You might just be holding a six-figure secret in the palm of your hand. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this incredible story, be sure to like the video, subscribe for more amazing coin tales, and share this with someone who might have a treasure hiding in their spare change. Until next time, keep your eyes open, and your quarters even closer. Top 4. Most of us walk past money every single day without realizing it. Not in the form of $100 bills or hidden bank accounts, but in the loose change we carry, spend, or toss into jars without a second thought. But sometimes, just sometimes, one of those coins holds a story, a secret, and a value so incredible it almost doesn't seem real. Today, we're exploring one of those mysteries hiding in plain sight, the 1979 Washington quarter. Now, to the average person, the 1979 quarter is just another coin, common, familiar, and easy to overlook. It's the kind of thing you might use to pay for parking, throw into a vending machine, or leave under your couch cushions for weeks. But here's the twist, not all 1979 quarters are created equal. In fact, a very small number of them are so rare and valuable that they've turned ordinary people into lucky collectors overnight. And if you're wondering whether one might be sitting in your change right now, keep watching, because what you're about to hear might just make you check your pockets. The Washington quarter has been a fixture in American currency since 1932, introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Over the decades, it's undergone changes in design, composition, and even purpose. By 1979, the quarter had long since lost its silver content. Since 1965, these coins were made with a copper-nickel-clad design, layers of nickel wrapped around a solid copper core. Millions were struck and released into circulation, so naturally, you'd think none of them could be worth much, right? That's where the story takes a turn. You see, during the minting process, things don't always go as planned. Machines misfire. Blanks get mixed up. Dies wear down. And every so often, these small technical glitches result in something extraordinary, a mint error. For a collector, those errors are like gold. And in the case of the 1979 Washington quarter, certain errors and rare variations have sent its value soaring far beyond what you'd ever expect from a coin that's barely larger than a bottle cap. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1979 quarter involves the type of planchet it was struck on. A rare few were accidentally minted on planchets intended for other coins, sometimes even foreign currency. These off-metal strikes are extremely scarce, and when combined with a high-condition grade, they can drive the value sky high, but that's just the beginning. Another prized variety is the double die. This happens when the coin design is imprinted twice due to a slight misalignment, creating a doubled effect that can be seen in the lettering or numbers. To the untrained eye, it might go unnoticed. But to a numismatist, or even a sharp-eyed beginner, it's a signal that you found something special. Then there are those struck with an off-center design, where the imprint doesn't land squarely in the middle of the coin, leaving part of the image cut off and creating a unique, lopsided appearance. Combine that with strong eye appeal and minimal wear, and suddenly you have a coin that collectors will compete to own, and it's not just errors. Even perfectly struck 1979 quarters, in pristine condition, can carry significant value, especially those graded at the top of the mint state scale, like MS 67 or higher. These are coins that have survived the decades without a single scratch, ding, or blemish. Coins that were never spent, never tossed around, and have retained their flawless, original finish. They are the best of the best, and their scarcity only increases their value. Now, maybe you're wondering, how do these valuable quarters end up in people's hands at all? The truth is, many of them go unnoticed for years. They sit in drawers, get passed through generations, or hide in old jars until someone curious decides to take a closer look. That's the magic of this hobby. Anyone, anywhere, can make an extraordinary discovery. All it takes is the right coin, the right knowledge, and a bit of luck. Collectors, dealers, and auction houses are constantly on the lookout for these rare gems. And when a truly special coin comes up for sale, especially a 1979 quarter with a major error or in flawless condition, it doesn't just get attention. It sets off bidding wars. So now we arrive at the question everyone's been waiting for: what's the highest price one of these coins has ever sold for? How much could a single 1979 quarter, yes, just 25 cents, actually be worth in the right circumstances? It might sound unbelievable. But one of these incredibly rare 1979 Washington quarters, in exceptional condition and carrying a remarkable mint error, once sold for a life-changing amount of money. That single coin was purchased for $105,000. That's right, $105,000 for a coin that might be hiding in someone's change jar right now. So the next time you reach into your pocket and pull out a quarter, don't just spend it without a second glance. Take a moment. Look at the date. Study the edges. Inspect the design. Because you never know when one of those plain, forgotten coins might turn out to be something extraordinary. And just maybe, your next coin could be worth far more than 25 cents. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of the 1979 Washington quarter. If you enjoyed the story and want to hear more about the hidden treasures waiting to be discovered in everyday currency, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a future video. Until next time, keep searching, stay curious, and remember, sometimes, the greatest treasures come in the smallest forms. Top 5. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered if it could be worth more than just a few cents? Could it actually be hiding a secret, one that collectors would pay thousands to uncover? If you've ever had that thought, then today's video might just blow your mind. Because we're talking about a coin most people pass around every single day without realizing what it could be worth. The United States of America 1982 Washington quarter. And while millions were made, a small number of these coins are anything but ordinary. At first glance, the 1982 quarter might look like any other coin. It has the same image of George Washington on the front, the proud eagle on the reverse, and the usual copper-nickel finish we've come to recognize since the mid-1960s. But here's the twist: 1982 was a turning point in American coin production, a year that created an opening for rare errors, missing details, and collector-grade varieties that can be worth a serious amount of money today. To understand why this year is special, you need to know what was happening behind the scenes at the U.S. Mint. In 1982, the Mint was struggling with budget issues and rising metal costs. They made a major decision that would affect collectors for decades: they stopped producing uncirculated mint sets. That meant many coins from 1982, including quarters, only entered the world through general circulation, used, spent, and worn down over time. Fewer untouched coins made it into collector hands. And that makes pristine versions of the 1982 quarter far more valuable than other years, but that's not all. The US Mint also made changes to the dies, the metal stamps used to press designs into the coin blanks. These changes resulted in two different types of D mint mark quarters for 1982. There's the 1982 D small date and the 1982 D large date, both produced in Denver. Some collectors actively seek out both varieties, and finding either one in high-grade condition is already a challenge. But when minting errors and anomalies are involved, the value jumps dramatically. One of the most well-known and hunted varieties from this year is the 1982 D Washington quarter with a strong die break or doubling in the lettering. These double die errors are caused when the coin's design is stamped more than once, slightly out of alignment. This results in a shadow-like appearance in areas such as Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date itself. If you ever spot one of these errors, especially in excellent condition, you're looking at something rare. Another highly sought-after issue is the 1982 quarter with a missing mint mark. Though rare, these coins skipped an important detail during the minting process, the little P or D that shows where the coin was made. When that tiny mark disappears, it can create a huge amount of excitement in the collecting world. Some believe these mint mark omissions were the result of worn dies or production rushes. Whatever the cause, they're rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Let's not forget about strike quality either. Because of the mint's cutbacks in 1982, many coins were produced quickly and with less precision. That means finding a quarter from that year with a full, sharp strike and flawless surface is like finding a needle in a haystack. Add in a mint error, and you've got a coin that could be worth far, far more than anyone would expect. Picture this: someone receives a quarter in their change from a gas station. They toss it into a bowl near the door. Years pass. One day, a family member finds it, cleans it off, and notices something odd. The design looks unusual, maybe even doubled. They take a closer look, do a bit of research, and then send it off for grading. What comes back? A certified error coin from 1982 in near-perfect condition. That's the kind of real-life story that has happened more than once. And it's the reason collectors and everyday people alike continue to check every coin that passes through their hands. Collectors aren't just looking for any quarter, they're looking for the quarter. That rare piece that beat the odds, escaped mass wear, and holds within it the quirks of a chaotic year at the US Mint. Coin shows, online auctions, and coin dealer sites are all flooded with searches for these elusive 1982 varieties. When one is found in top condition with an undeniable mint error, it becomes more than just a piece of change. It becomes a prize, and that brings us to the most exciting part of all: what one of these coins is actually worth. While most 1982 quarters are still worth just 25 cents, the rarest examples, those with dramatic errors, flawless strikes, and high-grade certification, have fetched eye-popping sums at auction. One such coin, a rare 1982 Washington quarter in exceptional condition with a striking mint error, was sold for an unbelievable amount. And that amount was not 500. Not 1,000. Not even 10,000. That one single coin was sold for a staggering $85,000. Yes, you heard that right, $85,000. So the next time you find a quarter in your couch cushions, your glove box, or your pocket, don't just spend it without a second thought. Take a closer look. It might be more than just change. It might be a story waiting to be discovered. It might even be worth $85,000. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might have a treasure hiding in their old change jar. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story. Yours might just be waiting to be found. Top 6. Every coin tells a story. Some stories are simple, minted, used, forgotten. But others hide secrets. Surprising secrets. And if you've ever handled a quarter from 1994, you might want to take a second look. Because buried within the millions of coins that passed through hands, cash registers, and pockets that year, is a rare variety so valuable that it's made collectors sit up, take notice, and pay tens of thousands to own it. Today, we're talking about the United States of America Washington quarter dollar from the year 1994. A year that, on the surface, seemed completely ordinary for coin production. But as history has shown us time and again, even the most routine years can produce something extraordinary. So let's dive into what makes this particular coin so fascinating, and why some people are turning to their old change jars hoping to uncover a hidden gem. The Washington quarter has been a staple in American currency since 1932. By 1994, its design was well known: George Washington on the obverse, the majestic eagle perched on the reverse, wings spread wide in confident pride. Made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, the 1994 quarter doesn't contain silver, nor was it part of any commemorative series. But despite its seemingly ordinary appearance, some 1994 quarters are far from typical. The U.S. Mint struck these coins at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, marked with a P or a D respectively. But within that massive production, mistakes happened. And when mistakes happen at the mint, that's when things get interesting. Because in the world of coin collecting, an error isn't a problem, it's a goldmine. Some of the rarest 1994 Washington quarters are those that were struck on the wrong planchet. A planchet is the blank metal disc that gets pressed into a coin. And in rare cases, a quarter might be struck on a planchet meant for another coin, like a dime or a foreign denomination. This results in a 1994 quarter that's the wrong size, the wrong weight, or the wrong color. These coins look and feel off and collectors go wild for them. Then there are double die errors, coins where the design was impressed twice, slightly out of alignment. If you've ever seen a coin where the words or numbers look like they have a shadow or a blurry second layer, that could be a double die. For 1994 quarters, this kind of error is extremely rare, but when it shows up, it's considered a major find. Off-center strikes, partial collars, and clipped planchets are also among the types of errors that elevate a regular quarter into a collectible piece. These errors are sometimes dramatic and easy to spot, and sometimes they're so subtle that only a trained eye or a good magnifying glass will catch them. Either way, they can turn an ordinary-looking 1994 quarter into something worth a serious amount of money. But let's say the coin is perfectly struck, no errors, no missing letters, no off-metal weirdness. Could it still be valuable? The answer is yes. Condition matters. In fact, condition can be everything. Coins that were never circulated, never touched, scratched, or even dropped, can receive what's called a mint state grade. And the higher the grade, the higher the value. A 1994 Washington quarter in mint state 67 or above is exceptionally rare. That's because most coins from this year were used, handled, spent, and tossed around. Finding one in pristine, untouched condition is a challenge. Combine that flawless condition with a minting error, and you have a recipe for an incredibly desirable coin. Imagine you're sorting through a box of old change from your childhood. You find a 1994 quarter, flip it over, and something seems different. You weigh it, examine the edges, check the details with a magnifier. It looks perfect. Or maybe it looks slightly off in a way that doesn't make sense. You send it in to a professional coin grading service. Weeks later, it returns with authentication, a rare error, in near-perfect condition that you've just uncovered something people spend years trying to find. Now, let's talk about the real excitement. The market. Because when these rare 1994 quarters show up at auctions, collectors don't hesitate. These aren't just novelty coins, they are treasures. Historical, accidental, and financially valuable, and that brings us to the part you've been waiting for. How much can one of these rare 1994 Washington quarters be worth? In one notable case, a 1994 quarter with a dramatic mint error, preserved in stunning condition, and graded at a top-tier mint state level, was sold at auction for an incredible amount. That single coin, just one quarter, was purchased for $55,000. Yes, you heard correctly. $55,000. So the next time you pick up a quarter from 1994, don't just toss it into your pocket or feed it into a parking meter. Take a closer look. You could be holding a coin that tells more than a story. It could change your story. If you found this video fascinating, hit that like button, subscribe for more rare coin discoveries, and share this with someone who might have a treasure hiding in plain sight. Remember, every coin you touch might be more than just change, it might be the beginning of something life-changing. Top 7. What if I told you that the most ordinary-looking coin in your pocket could actually be worth a small fortune? Not a rare gold piece, not an antique from the 1800s, but something far more familiar. A Washington quarter from the year 1998. That's right, today, we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most underrated and surprising coins in modern US history. And by the end of this video, you might just be running to check your spare change. At first glance, the 1998 quarter doesn't look like anything special. It was made in massive numbers, with production rolling out from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Millions upon millions were struck, distributed, and spent without a second thought. You've probably used one to buy a snack, pay for parking, or drop into a donation jar. But among those millions, a few were different, some drastically different. And those few have become the stuff of legend among collectors and coin hunters alike. To understand why 1998 was such an interesting year for the Washington quarter, we need to consider the timing. This was the very last year before the U.S. Mint launched the wildly popular 50-state quarters program in 1999. The Mint was preparing for major design changes, new dies, and new production techniques. And whenever big transitions like that happen, mistakes are more likely to slip through. Sometimes, it's during those exact moments of change when the most valuable errors are created. Now let's talk about what makes a 1998 quarter stand out. First, there's the possibility of mint errors, those unexpected, accidental variations that turn a regular coin into a rare treasure. These errors can include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and even quarters struck on the wrong type of metal. One known error from 1998 includes quarters that were accidentally struck on planchets meant for other coins, giving them a strange color, weight, or thickness. Then there are the double die varieties, where part of the design appears slightly duplicated, often visible in the lettering or the date. These aren't just interesting, they're collectible. Even small, subtle doubling on a coin from 1998 can turn a pocket change find into something worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if it's certified and in excellent condition. Let's not forget the infamous, experimental planchet coins. These were test coins made with new materials the Mint was considering for future designs. Some experts believe that a very small number of 1,998 quarters were struck on these experimental blanks by mistake and made it into circulation. These coins are exceedingly rare, and finding one is like winning the coin collector's lottery, and while errors are exciting, condition still plays a critical role. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and anything in the upper 60s, especially mint state 67 and above, is considered extremely high quality. Most coins in circulation will never reach that level. They've been dinged, scratched, handled, and tossed around. But a few, just a handful, have survived the decades untouched, kept in original rolls or collector's sets, waiting to be discovered in near-perfect shape. Now imagine finding a 1998 quarter with one of these rare errors, in pristine condition, shining as if it just left the mint. That coin could turn heads at major auctions, attract top collectors, and sell for a price that would shock anyone who's ever dismissed pocket change as worthless. Stories like this aren't just fantasy, they've happened. People have found rare and valuable coins in inherited collections, yard sales, old coffee cans, and even stuck in couch cushions. All it takes is one sharp eye, one unusual detail, and suddenly you're holding a coin that's worth far more than 25 cents. The coin market thrives on these discoveries. Collectors are constantly searching for the next rare variety to add to their collections, and when a coin like a rare 1998 quarter appears with confirmed errors and top-tier condition, the bidding begins. Prices rise. And just like that, a small coin becomes a big deal. So how much could one of these rare 1998 Washington quarters actually sell for? What's the kind of money we're really talking about here? It might sound unbelievable, but one of these coins, struck in error, verified by experts, and preserved in excellent condition, was sold for an eye-opening amount. That one quarter, just like the ones you probably have in your drawer or change jar, was sold for $45,000. Yes, you heard that right, $45,000. So the next time you're handed a quarter, especially one from 1998, don't rush to spend it. Look at it closely. Check the edges, study the lettering, inspect the date. Because you never know, one of those coins could be more than just change. It could be a life-changing discovery waiting in the palm of your hand. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more unbelievable coin tales, and share this with someone who might have a fortune hiding in their coin jar. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a secret. Will you be the one to uncover it?